Hello, welcome back to Bridging the Gap. My name is David James, and we're here with Bishop Anthony Dickerson from the Christian Shelter.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
Thank you for coming on. First thing I want to ask you is, there at the Christian Shelter, what's the average amount of guests you have there?
The average amount of guests we have now is 28. We can house up to 78 guests at one time.
Wow. Wow. So these guests, do you keep them all together as far as families?
Yeah, our shelter comprised of men, women, and then we have families. And we try to help each and every one of those families based on their needs. We don't have case managers, but we, the staff, myself, we do the best we can. And I think we do a good job in really helping them to achieve their goals.
Yeah, my wife and I, we actually volunteer there.
Absolutely.
And it seems like you definitely have a very smooth running operation there. And the guests, as you call them guests there,
Yes,
correct?
yes.
They seem to be very much content. And now, what are some of the programs that the shelter offers them?
One of the programs is, which our most powerful program is basically the devotion.
Okay.
And the devotion is basically like a Bible study. It's like a Bible study and an affirmation session. I just don't make it all about the Bible. I try to put a little spin on it, and I try to give them some self-empowerment. And so I start off. We have devotion at 9:15. We start everybody off with okay, give me 5 affirmation statements. And then, when they first get to the shelter, they're a little shy and bashful, but as they keep on speaking it, and then it gets so good they can't even stop. For you know it, within probably 5 or 6 minutes, they're doing maybe 6 or 7 affirmation statements, because it's they never looked at themselves like that, and when they see themselves different, so that's powerful. And then I do a subject that's geared to what they need. Right now, I'm doing Power Thoughts by Joyce Meyer.
Okay.
I'm on Power Thought 1. I can do all things through Christ that strengthen me, and I'm just really teaching on that. For a whole week I've been teaching on that, and I've been drilling it, and I'll probably teach on it about maybe 15 minutes. And the next 15 minutes I go into a discussion, and let me tell you the discussion, like today, the discussion, we had guests crying in the session. I mean, They were getting emotional, because it was emotion of joy. They were actually crying and so forth. It was just amazing.
Now, what are the 2 goals when a guest comes to the shelter? What are your 2 goals for them?
I'm glad you asked. Number 1, their first goal is to get a relationship with God.
Awesome.
And number 2, to get a relationship with themselves.
Nice.
If they can master those 2 things, everything else will come into place.
Wow.
And it's working. It's working.
Now, the majority of the guests that come in there, are they women, men, or families, or
all the above? All the above. Yep, all the above.
Wow.
Different men. They come from different backgrounds. They all have their different issues that they're dealing with.
Sure.
And we help them to walk through the issue. And my prayer in the morning, I say, God, let me be the answer to somebody else's problem.
Nice.
Let me be the answer to somebody else's crisis. Let me say a kind word to them. Lord, prepare me to handle the difficult conversations.
Wow.
A lot of times when we pray, we want to ask God, bless me with this and bless me with that. But sometimes I think our prayer should be, Lord, help me to help somebody else to work through their crisis.
I like that.
Help me to talk it through them. Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So now, and before you came to the Christian Shelter, you actually did some work with the Goodwill, correct?
Yeah.
So you saw the homeless. I know around the Goodwill, there's a lot of homeless, right? Now, do you find that these the homeless people that you work with, or the people that you've seen around around town, is it more of a mental thing that they're dealing with, or is it because they need housing? Is it finance?
It's mental health. It is some of them can't afford housing, but most of it is they make poor choices. They make poor choices, and I tell them, you can choose the choice, but you can't choose the consequences. you don't get to choose the consequence to your choice. So, so in other words, if you make a bad choice, then you don't. There is always a consequences to that choice that you make, whether it be good or whether it be bad. So you get to choose the choice, but you don't get to choose the consequences, and that's why I work through individuals on making good choices, because everything is a choice.
Absolutely. Yeah. Now, do you have any? Are there any success stories that come in?
Oh man, yes, we had. Listen, I'm gonna save this story. I'm gonna talk about this story without really tearing up. We had a lady. She was about 70, in her 70s. She's been homeless. I want you to listen to me. She was homeless about 20 years. She used to sleep behind the Acme building, and she would go from house to house. Finally, when she came to us, she was a little feisty lady. You know how elderly people get. She was a little feisty. I said, okay. So we had to kind of settle her down a little bit, and we got her hooked up with our financial counselor. She was still feisty, but we was able to navigate through the process. And the first time that she did not change her confession when she did the affirmation statement. She says, I thank God for my apartment. And she said that for 2 months straight. Didn't change her confession. Wow. Now, all of a sudden, after 20 years of being homeless, this woman just moved into her apartment at Pine Bluff and doing well. Wow. Because she spoke her apartment into existence.
I love it.
She would not change her affirmation. It was the same thing. It was just like she was taking pills. It was like she was taking medication. Because in medication, they may give you 30 pills, but all 30 pills is the same. So the moral of the story is, so if you take those 30 pills consistently, it can help you with your issue. So that's why I relate to the Word of God. It's just like taking a pill consistently. You take it every day. If it's one time a day, 2 times, whatever the instruction says. But if you take it consistently, you'll find improvement. And so, it really blew her away.
Sure. Wow.
Because I don't think per se she was a believer. I don't think she was a believer. But by the time she left the shelter, well, she's a believer.
That was something I definitely wanted to ask you. Now, Christian shelter, since it is known as a Christian shelter, does everybody that come there, are they all Christian?
Nope. So the thing is, it's not fair. You make it mandatory. I said, look, you're in my house. I said, my house, my rules. My house, my rules. Sure. I said, you ain't got to accept them, but you're gonna hear about them.
Sounds good to me.
It's up to you to accept him. Wow. But you're gonna hear what he can do.
Wow. That's awesome. Now, and I've noticed when we've been over there volunteering, there's also a lot of younger people.
Yep.
Now, do you find yourself actually having more resistance from the younger generation or the older generation?
I'm glad you asked that, Dave, because when I first went there, man, we didn't do well with young people. I mean, because this sense of entitlement, I want to do what I want to do. You can't tell me, you're not my mama, you're not my daddy, Tarara Boutier. I mean, you name it, we heard it.
Right.
And so here lately, we've been having some success stories with young people.
Good.
I was amazed.
Good.
And so to the degree that I'm really thinking about upstairs, because we have an upstairs, I'm thinking about and making maybe a 15-bed unit, and I'm thinking about really housing some young people. It got me rethinking.
Sure.
It got me rethinking. And so I said, okay, all right, we'll see what God says.
Wow. And like you said, a lot of time with the younger generation, I'm just going to say it like this: their upbringing wasn't the same as the older generation,
Absolutely.
and their respect level's not there. And they may be in need, but a lot of times if you try to help them, they don't want the help.
Right.
And how do you help someone that doesn't?
You can't, because you see, the thing is, if you try to go against their will, you're trying to do something that God doesn't even do. God doesn't go against our will.
Right.
You know, it's a power of choice. Destiny is not left up by chance. It's a power of choice. So again, you choose. So if you choose to not do anything, okay, I can't go against your will. I cannot violate your will. So if you don't want to do it, here's what I tell them. If you don't want to do it, then the Christian shelter is not a place for you. So I have to release you into your destiny. Wow. That's what I tell them. Wow. And that's a nice way of telling them I'm going to have to kindly ask you to leave. Because then I'm wasting your time, and then you're wasting our time.
What's the average amount of time then, if they follow protocol and do what they need to, what's the average amount of time you usually give them there? It's
usually 90 days, but I'm open if they have to stay a little longer, as long as they're saving their money, as long as they're obeying the rules and abiding by the rules, and as long as I see them trying, I can extend it out. I can extend it out to a year.
Right. Wow.
But see, I don't announce that. I may be announcing it now, but but I don't announce that because everybody get comfortable and being in the shelter. But we're here to help you as long as it takes. Now, when it gets to a year, then I think probably the most I guess we had one guest who stayed there 2 years, because they really needed the shelter. But for the most part, it's a year to 2 years. I'm gonna say a year to 2 years, but it depends on the individual.
Okay.
When I see that when they give it up and they stop trying, it says, okay, time's up. I'm going to have to ask you later. And normally, interesting, sometimes when we force them out, now a light bulb comes on.
Now, other than working with the Christian shelter, you're a bishop.
Yeah.
So you work with people anyway.
Yes.
And do you also find that the younger generation is they're harder to reach? Yeah. Even outside of the shelter?
Because this generation is different. It's not like when you and I were growing up. When all your mom had to do, and my mom had to do is look at us.
Or anybody in the neighborhood.
We knew that look. Yes, man. We like, and we would get a lecture now when you leave the house, you're not to ask for nothing. Don't you ask for nothing, and then when we're talking, you don't get in the grown folk conversation. It's not like that anymore. Wow. It's a whole different scenario now.
All right, we're back here on Bridging the Gap, and we now have Council Lady April Jackson from the City Council. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes. Before we get into the meat of Chopping It Up, I want to ask you a couple of questions. How long you been on City Council?
In November, it'll be 10 years.
10 years?
Yeah, 10
wow.
years.
Wow. Now, what gave you the want to, if you will?
I've always had a desire to help people. Always, ever since I was a little girl. I've always tried to make sure everybody had what they needed from a little girl. Like I said, even from the Lake Street Playground, I would take kids home and do their hair, feed them, give them my clothes and stuff like that. So I always had this in my heart, and my parents were both givers. They were never takers. And they taught us how to be community acclimated.
Right.
Wow. Yeah, and I know you know my family very well. My aunt always tells me. Yes, my aunt always tells me how much you've been doing for the community, and I've actually been watching you as well. You do a lot of things with the homeless. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, we just really started. The VFW has given us their place to do some events and then coordinate some events with them, along with them. It's their place, and it was their event, but I had worked with the homeless for maybe 12 years in my church, Wesley, when I was going to Wesley Temple. We were the first homeless shelter, winter homeless shelter. So I always worked, and I had a passion, because we never know where we're going to be.
That part.
At any given day or time, we never know. So it just, just working with my kids, my grandkids, all of us work with them, and we just found a need. It's a need, and it's what God would have us do. We're supposed to be discipled. We're supposed to be out here helping, not destroying, but assisting and helping people through their journey. Everybody's not going to be fortunate.
Right.
Enough to have a place. Some people are not going to be fortunate enough to have a home or a food or whatever. It's that's just how it is. But with me, the homeless holds a place in my heart. There's times when I had people who call me, and then he said, send them to Bishop Dickerson. And, because I do believe, and he basically tries to help in any way he can. But with me, it's just something I can honestly say, I practically made myself homeless one time. Wasn't homeless, yeah, but I'll be real. I didn't want to stay with my mom. I didn't want to stay here. I wanted to stay where I want to stay. My nose. But it's just like I was there. I was at that place, and I was a single parent raising 4 kids.
Wow. Sure.
Yeah. And struggling, So I know the struggle, and the struggle is real. So I can imagine watching other families out here with children and being homeless. I wasn't there, but I put myself in that position, and I do believe, and that means God put me there. He put me there just so I could be where I am today. Some of the things we go through is not just because we put ourselves through. Sometimes God tests us just to see where we're going to be, and I don't forget about people.
Nice.
The position that I have right now, I'm still able every day.
Yeah.
That part.
The position doesn't make me. It's who I am.
Yes, ma'am.
I am who I am.
Now, have you? Thank you. Up under the bridge, over there down by downtown, there's several, families up under there. Do you know anything about them?
Yes. Matter of fact, when we had the thing at the VFW, I went out there and I just handed them the flyers about the homeless.
Wow.
And we still have plenty of clothes and everything. And we want to do another one as well. We still have our bags packed with our goodies and stuff. And I went out there and just handed them out. And, it was so heartbreaking because some of the people didn't want you to identify them as homeless.
Sure.
And they were like, well, I'm not homeless. But in my heart, I knew they were. But I wasn't just saying it to them. I was just like, here, take it. If you know somebody that is, just give it to them and let them know. And I had one guy, he just put the flyer right in the trash can, just folded it right up so it would fit so people could see it. I'm like, I would have never thought to do that. But, we shouldn't have as many homeless people as we have.
True. Yeah.
We shouldn't. We just shouldn't. We've got too many abandoned houses around here.
Absolutely.
We have too many abandoned houses that we should never see this many people. And I know a lot of people are transient. They're coming in from other states and cities and stuff like that. But the homeless and it's not going to completely come to a halt because it's said in the Word. We're going to have
the poor
this.
you have with you always.
Yes, but
Yep.
we just need to know how to entertain it.
Right.
And we need to know how to deal with the homeless, and always saying they have mental issues and this and that. Not always do they have mental issues. Some of them, really, honestly, if you really want to, some of them don't like to be told what to do. And that doesn't mean you have a mental
Authority.
illness. Yeah, the authority, they don't like it.
Right.
Some of them just don't want to pay bills.
Yeah.
I know, for example, I know a young guy who was actually homeless, getting out of jail, and he was working for a person. And he would go get him out the woods to work with him to make sure he had. This young man has pulled his bootstraps up, gotten himself together, got him a nice old truck, came back and told the person, I was tired. And I told that person, until he gets tired, it's nothing that you can do but just be there for him.
Yep.
It's nothing you can do. It's till you get tired of being in that situation. Now he's gotten himself together and he looks good. He's doing good. And, it just, We as a people have to stop looking down on people.
Right.
That's our problem.
Absolutely.
We tend to shun somebody because they don't either look like us, they don't dress like us, they don't smell like us. Whatever. That's not the way it should be.
Thank you. Now, I want to turn attention a little bit towards the younger people or the younger generation. What do you think about the younger generation?
They're kind of rough around the edges, but it's not what you say, is how you say it to them. They can tell whether it's love or whether it's hate or whether you just being pure mean. I don't have really any problems with young people. Matter of fact, I love them. A lot of my events I do for younger people, they're free events. It's actually for the whole family, but it's based on the youth and bringing families together to be active.
Sure.
But these young people have become very disrespectful. Some of the things that they say, I would never think about saying
Absolutely.
in front of an adult. I wouldn't think about doing, and I'm not going to say that I've never used profanity, but I would have never done it in front of my father, and I would have never done it in front of an adult because I know where my lips would have been, in the back of my head. But these kids, there are no consequences for their behaviors. And when, be honest with our children, when they took discipline out of school, you took discipline out of the home. And this is where our problem started. When we couldn't, they tell you can't correct your kid, or you can beat your child, or you got to tell your child go sit in the corner for, can you count to 10? I'm not counting to 10. And I'm not going to tell my child to count to 10. If they're in my house, I'm paying bills, I'm doing whatever I need to be doing, they're going to do what I say do, or you're going to march. And that's just how I feel.
Sure.
I mean, you don't give a child an option. I hear a lot of parents say, well, do you want to do this? And the child says, no. I didn't have an option.
No.
We didn't have options. Our parents or grandparents told us, you're going to church, and that's it. And it's nothing else. But now, it's just like, I'm going to say, parents, I know some parents that were like that when I was young, that were reluctant to make their kids do things, you know, and never believed nothing anybody told them about their children.
Yeah, there are.
Okay, and they're still there. So I don't try to say, oh, well, back then we didn't have parents. No, there were some of the parents who did. I remember that as a child. You couldn't go tell their child did something because, oh no, not my child. My thing is, when somebody comes and tells you about your child, investigate. Investigate. And like I said before, when your children are not around you, you don't know what they're doing. You just don't know. You don't. I know my kids very well, but I also know my kids are my kids, and I know what I would do. So I know what they're capable of doing. And this is what we have to look at. And we have to also understand the society that we're living in today affects our children to the utmost. Because when you tell a child, if a parent beats you, call 911. They're going to need a whole lot of 911s living in my house. For real. Because I'm just the type of person, I'm just basically like my father. I'm strict. I don't play. If you can't abide by my rules and regulations, you don't need to be there. You know, and this is what parents need. I'm not saying put your child out.
No.
But there has to be some stipulation, some guidelines, something other than just allowing your kids to just do whatever they want to. And then some of the mothers dress their kids like they're adults. You go out and buy a $100 outfit for a child who's doing absolutely nothing in school.
It's like reinforcing inappropriate behavior.
Thank you.
And
that's one thing I never believe. I'm not going to reward you for something you did bad. I'm not doing that. My mother did it to me one time. I got suspended because I got fighting in school. And I got 3 new pair of shoes. And I'm like, later on in life, I said, was that right? That wasn't right. But see, my father instilled in me, you get suspended again, you'll get your butt tore up. So I had the double standards, like, don't get suspended anymore. And I never did. But as I got older, I'm like, she bought me 3 new pair of shoes that day. And I got suspended. I'm like, I don't understand this, but I do understand it. My mother was more of a, kind of like a nurturer. and my father was more like
disciplinary. Yes, yes. So
you know, I was always told that a rebellious child, if it's not taken care of, will end up being a rebellious adult. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
And I see a lot of the young people nowadays, and like Bishop was saying, there are success stories out there, and I know you've seen them, but just like you said, I see a lot of rebellion, and I think it starts at home.
It does.
You know, we're going to be definitely talking about that in a few minutes, but I do want to ask both of you a question right now, as far as it goes with the young people. Do you feel that law enforcement hands are tied when it comes to dealing with our young people?
To a certain extent.
Yeah, I think to a certain extent they are, but I think the community and police officers need to be educated. And I'm gonna tell you what was working. I was hoping that the city would go back to the substations. Because the substations in the neighborhood were effective. That's how they built those relationships. And it seems like when they took them out, it seems like all hell broke loose in the community. I think we need to go back. I think we need to revisit the substations, and they need to just kind of interact with the community. And plus, having substations in the community, you're making the people feel safe.
Absolutely.
You're making them feel safe.
So true.
And it also gets a person. I'm one of those people that believe in the old Andy Griffith approach.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't when you seen, you know, and I know it was a sitcom or whatever, but when you saw the sheriff, it wasn't like, oh my goodness, here comes the police department.
Right.
But when you see the same face, you become familiar with
that
them.
face,
You know,
and it's trust.
Yes.
It's a trust issue, and just like they used to have the Safe Streets initiative, the county did, and I was a part of that, and it worked. When I say it worked, but from what I'm understanding from them, the government took the money back. They didn't want to do another Safe Street initiative. But I saw it work for people who were going to prison or jail for a little bit of time and you're taking them out. They're doing activities in the community for the youth. And those things... We have to be repetitious in our communities. We have to stay hands-on. Just like today, I went out to the park and to the playground, and there wasn't a lot of kids out there. And I'm like, how do you break the ice? What is it that we need to do for the parents to... The thing is from 9 to 1. So...
It's at Lake Street, right?
At the beginning, we had loads and loads of kids, and I'm like, where did this go wrong?
Right.
You know? Where did it go wrong? You've got, I'm going to be honest, lazy parents who don't want to get their kids up, for real. They don't want the responsibility of, say, look, go on out to the playground. Well, you didn't have to tell me to go, because I'd be gone.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed in the house.
When I thought the playground was open, I shot to the playground and stayed there all day, went home for lunch, took my kids, wait till my parents go back to work and take the children home and clean them up. And, you know, I mean, those are the things I did, and then I go right back to the playground. And the director's there, because I remember Anthony being there when he was young.
Absolutely.
And we had a good time. So what I did today, I called the county. And I asked the county, I said, can we borrow a box hockey and the sticks and the balls? And he called me back. He said, sure, just find somebody to come and get it for you.
That's awesome.
Because I'm trying to build the community, not let it down. And if we don't start working with our young people now, when will we ever?
Wow.
And every last one of the playgrounds had the summer camp program. I remember.
I remember down
Mr. G.
We had it. Yes, Mr. Giddens.
Mr. Whittington.
Mr. Waller.
All those.
Sophie, daytime,
For me, it's just Tootie Mitchell. That's
we would be like, in the playground, and we competed against each playground.
That was fun.
We had Doverdale. What was the other one? It was another park that we had, and we all came together. We would have big track meets out to the Indian Village, Emerson Holloway, and we would have track meets at the High Stadium. We would have softball tournaments. We would go to Skateland, but nobody wants. I was told before when I wanted to do some things like this, I was told we're not babysitting your children.
Oh man! Wow.
And I was like, I never asked you to babysit our kids. I said, do you know what they did back in the day, they hired teachers for summer jobs
Yep.
to come out and help our kids, not just. I mean, hey, come on, what's the problem? You're paying somebody. Why can't we give a teacher a summer job and give the kids some summer fun?
That's right. Yeah, right.
Wow.
And it worked back then.
It's going to work because I'm going to make it work. I'm going to stay in it till it gets done.
And those were the days. And see, they weren't just they were older gentlemen that taught you manners. So and when we say babysitting, it's not about being a babysitter, but it takes a village.
Yes, it does.
It's about creating a village. You don't have to be around a lot of people. You just got to be around the right people.
The right people.
And they were the right people to be around because we had basketball. We ate lunch there. They had we ate lunch there. We had box hockey.
Tetherball.
Yeah.
Beans, which they call man collar now. I said, that's not man collar, that's beans. But
I'm with you with that one.
No, I even took them out and I bought popsicle sticks. And let them make baskets, the little popsicle baskets.
Wow.
I bought flower pots, and the young lady who runs the director of the playground, her name is Asia, and she's a teacher.
Okay.
And she brought paint, and they painted the flower pots. Now, mind you, I got sick because of the heat and didn't get back out there, so some of them didn't get an opportunity to put, the soil and the seeds in and watch their plants grow. But it was the part of teaching them a craft. Teaching them, like you say, etiquette, because what I do is when they eat, when I'm there, I'll, who's going to say grace today?
Yeah.
Who's going to bless the food? I said, now, I don't know what your religious preference are, but we need to bless this food. And then they bless the food and they eat. And I had a schedule. Because I told the young lady, I said, we need a schedule. Simply because you need to keep the kids in one area at one time. Because I'm afraid of somebody being abducted or assaulted in any kind of way. So let's keep the kids here. Let's do arts, craft. Let's do some history. Let's have speakers. Let's have water day, water. I had it right down to the hour.
Wow.
Until 1 o'clock. Snowballs all day. Things of that sort. We've got to become creative. We can't expect the young people to be who they are if they don't know who they are.
I like that. I like that.
We can't expect them to. And if we don't teach our children now, when will they ever learn? This is the time. I had a young man at a meeting that the Truth Committee had just last Wednesday. And I had a young man in there, and he says, we need to start teaching our young people as early as 4th and 5th grade. About trades and, preparing their minds for college and things like that. And that's something we don't do.
Interesting.
We don't do that. And I was like, he's point on. For real, we need to start them as early as 1st grade, but but I'm not going to say their minds are not developed enough, because some of these 1st graders' minds are developed more than ours are.
They teach us computers like.
So we need to start working with our children, our youth, and I love them. I do, whether they think I do or not. I love young people. I love people, period.
And we did something creative in Cambridge, and this is the 2nd year that we did it, but it worked. 4 churches came together and did Vacation Bible School.
That's great.
Because
I remember those.
We're going to have Vacation Bible School anyway. So the 4 churches, we came together. We put our monies together.
That's great.
I taught one night. Bishop Weldon Johnson taught one night. Bishop Dean Evans taught one night. And, I had some teachers from my church. It was wonderful. And then we, at the end of it, we had an altar call. And those young people just cried out to God. I mean, it was amazing.
There's a hunger. There's a hunger.
There's a thirst.
It was amazing, and I think more churches need to do that. We need to come together right around the Lake Street Playground. You got 4 or 5 churches: St. Paul's, St. James, First Baptist, Wesley Temple. All of them can come together and have a joint Vacation Bible School.
I like that thought.
And that's the truth. The problem with our community is everybody wants to do something separate
Yep.
instead of coming together.
Yep.
And that's been my main thing ever since I've been back here in Salisbury.
Yep.
Is like I have a couple of organizations. I have actually the Thunder Guards Motorcycle Bike Club. They work with me consistently. I have We Here, their car club, and they're young people.
Sure.
And I told them, I said, look, I'm not going to be in this position all my life. I'm not going to have I'm not going to be able to operate the Salisbury Advisory like I want to. I'm getting older.
Right.
We all are.
I've got to but I've got to teach them
Sure.
how to carry the legacy on, because that's how things die in our community.
Yeah.
We think we want to hold on to stuff like this, like we're gonna carry it to your grave. No, let these young people be acclimated in knowing how to do this, so when their time comes, when I'm want to step back, because really they don't push me back anyway. Because if I do something, they'll tell me, "You go sit down. We got this. You don't show us how to do it."
How about it?
And they take over.
Right.
Well, when we come back, we're going to be, talking about some of the things that's facing the young people and the homeless community. But I want to go to break real quick.
Okay.
You got anything else you want to share before we go to break?
No. Oh, I did wanted to ask not Congresswoman.
Not yet.
Put me there.
Councilwoman, do Salisbury have a task force? I know we have the COC, but does Salisbury have a task force for the homeless?
Not to my knowledge.
Yep.
Interesting.
I think there needs to be a task force for the homeless. And I'm willing to serve on it.
I know you are.
Are we hearing this? I want to be on that.
Yep.
It is much needed, because we exhaust a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
They get exhausted,
Right.
Funding is not. Our church stopped because it was hard on them as well. But I could say some things that I really felt like God wants us outside in the vineyards to work. And the more we do, even when it gets hard, God will give us everything we
Yes.
need.
Yes.
Even when it gets hard.
I believe that.
Yes.
We're going to go to break because I could definitely talk to them for a while on this. I love this. So stay with us.